Penguin Random House Audio presents Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. Read for you by Laura Aikman, Sophie Aldred, Rachel Bavidge, Imogen Church, and Daniel Wayman. The Drowning Pool. Libby. Again! Again! The men bind her again. Different this time. Left thumb to right toe, right thumb to left. The rope around her waist. This time they carry her into the water. Please, she starts to beg, because she's not sure that she can face it, the blackness and the cold. She wants to go back to a home that no longer exists, to a time when she and her aunt sat in front of the fire and told stories to each other. She wants to be in her bed in their cottage. She wants to be little again, to breathe in wood smoke and rose and the sweet warmth of her aunt's skin. Please! She sinks. By the time they drag her out the second time, her lips are the blue of a bruise, and her breath is gone for good.
Part 1. 2015. Jules Abbott. There was something you wanted to tell me, wasn't there? What was it you were trying to say? I feel like I drifted out of this conversation a long time ago. I stopped concentrating. I was thinking about something else, getting on with things. I wasn't listening, and I lost the thread of it. Well, you've got my attention now. When they came to tell me, I was angry. Relieved first, because when two police officers turn up on your doorstep just as you're looking for your train ticket, about to run out of the door to work, you fear the worst. I feared for the people I care about, my friends, my ex, the people I work with. But it wasn't about them, they said. It was about you. So I was relieved, just for a moment. And then they told me what had happened, what you'd done. They told me that you'd been in the water. And then I was furious. Furious and afraid. I was thinking about what I was going to say to you when I got there. How I knew you'd done this to spite me, to frighten me, to disrupt my life, to get my attention, to drag me back to where you wanted me. And there you go, Nell. You've succeeded. Here I am in the place I never wanted to come back to look after your daughter, to sort out your bloody mess.
Monday, 10th of August. Josh Whittaker. Something woke me up. I got out of bed to go to the toilet, and I noticed Mum and Dad's door was open. And when I looked, I could see that Mum wasn't in bed. Dad was snoring as usual. The clock radio said it was 4:08. I thought she must be downstairs. She has trouble sleeping. I went downstairs really quietly, because usually what happens is she turns on the TV and then she falls asleep on the sofa. But the TV wasn't on, and she wasn't on the sofa, so I knew she must have gone out. She's done it a few times, that I know of, at least. I think she probably goes to walk by the river, or to visit Katie's grave. I do that sometimes, though not in the middle of the night. I'd be scared to go in the dark. Plus, it would make me feel weird because it's what Katie did herself. She got up in the middle of the night and went to the river and didn't come back. I sat down on the sofa to wait for her, but I must have fallen asleep because when I heard the door go, it was light outside, and when I looked at the clock on the mantelpiece, it was 7:15. I heard Mum close the door behind her and then run straight up the stairs. I followed her up. I stood outside the bedroom and watched through the crack in the door. She was on her knees next to the bed, over on Dad's side. She was breathing hard and saying, "Alec, wake up, wake up," and she was shaking him. "Nell Abbott is dead," she said. "They found her in the water. She jumped." I don't remember saying anything, but I must have made a noise because she looked up at me and scrambled to her feet. "Oh, Josh," she said, coming towards me. "Oh, Josh." There were tears running down her face, and she hugged me hard. Dad sat up in bed. He was rubbing his eyes. "I don't understand. When... Do you mean last night? How do you know?" "I went out to get milk," she said. Everyone was talking about it. In the shop. They found her this morning. She sat down on the bed and started crying again. Where did you go? I asked her. Where have you been? To the shops, Josh. I just said. You're lying, I wanted to say. You've been gone hours. You didn't just go to get milk. I wanted to say that, but I couldn't, because my parents were sitting on the bed looking at each other, and they looked happy.
Tuesday, 11th of August. Jules. I remember. On the back seat of the camper van, pillows piled up in the centre to mark the border between your territory and mine, driving to Beckford for the summer, you fidgety and excited, you couldn't wait to get there, me green with car sickness, trying not to throw up. It wasn't just that I remembered. I felt it. I felt that same sickness this afternoon, hunched up over the steering wheel like an old woman. I had that thing, that feeling I get when I see a white van barrelling towards me along one of those narrow lanes, and I think, I'm going to swerve, I'm going to do it, I'm going to swing right into its path, not because I want to, but because I have to. What if I just turned the wheel? You and me not so different after all. What struck me is how well I remembered. Too well. Why is it that I can recall so perfectly the things that happened to me when I was 8 years old, and yet trying to remember whether or not I spoke to my colleagues about rescheduling a client assessment for next week is impossible? The things I want to remember, I can't, and the things I try so hard to forget just keep coming. The nearer I got to Beckford, the more undeniable it became, the past shooting out at me like sparrows from the hedgerow, startling and inescapable. All that lushness, that unbelievable green. A newsreel of memories. Dad carrying me, squealing and squirming with delight into the water when I was 4 or 5 years old. You jumping from the rocks into the river, climbing higher and higher each time. Picnics on the sandy bank by the pool. Mum wearing a light blue sundress, barefoot in the kitchen making porridge for breakfast. Dad sitting on the riverbank, sketching. Later, when we were older, you in denim shorts with a bikini top under your t-shirt, sneaking out late to meet a boy. Not just any boy. The boy. Mum, thinner and frailer, sleeping in the armchair in the living room. Dad disappearing on long walks with the vicar's plump, pale, sun-hatted wife. I remember a game of football. Hot sun on the water. All eyes on me. Blinking back tears. Blood on my thigh. Laughter ringing in my ears. I can still hear it. I was so deep into my memories that I didn't realise I'd arrived. I was there in the heart of the town. It came on me suddenly, as though I'd closed my eyes and been spirited to the place, and before I knew it, I was driving slowly through narrow lanes, towards the church, towards the old bridge. Careful now. I kept my eyes on the tarmac in front of me and tried not to look at the trees, at the river. Tried not to see, but couldn't help it. I pulled over to the side of the road and turned off the engine. I looked up. There were the trees and the stone steps, green with moss and treacherous after the rain. My entire body goose-fleshed. I remembered this. Freezing rain beating the tarmac, flashing blue lights vying with lightning to illuminate the river and the sky, clouds of breath in front of panicked faces, and a little boy, ghost-white and shaking, led up the steps to the road by a policewoman. She was clutching his hand, and her eyes were wide and wild, her head twisting this way and that as she called out to someone. I can still feel what I felt that night, the terror and the fascination. I can still hear your words in my head. What would it be like? Can you imagine? To watch your mother die? I looked away. I started the car and pulled back onto the road, drove over the bridge where the lane twists around. I watched for the turning. The first on the left? No, not that one. The second one. There it was, that old brown...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?